Well, and welcome to my Xbox and Me, episode 463. I'm one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Mr. Too Fresh Crash, and he's had a haircut, or shaved his beard, or done something.
Shave my beard.
There
I
you fucking see.
trimmed it.
I noticed these things.
You said haircut at first. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about there.
I noticed you didn't notice my haircut.
Oh, you did get a haircut.
I did. And of course, the one and only Mr. Paul D. Spawn. Hello, sir.
I did not shave my beard.
I can tell.
It needs trim. It definitely needs a trim. My hair's still growing. It's coming back slowly, but surely.
Wait, let me see. I want to see Dr. Eggman. Come on, take it off. Come on.
It's coming
He's
back.
not Dr. Eggman no more.
Nah, not anymore.
It's
not
getting
anymore,
back.
Not anymore. If you didn't know, this is my Xbox and Me, our weekly Xbox podcast, right here on youtube.com/myxboxandme and all podcast services. If you want to support the show financially, head over to patreon.com/mcfixer. Over on Patreon, you can get some early access and some other goodies, which we are currently in the works. Alongside that, you also can go subscribe over on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/mcfixer, or become a YouTube member over on YouTube. Before we move forward, boys, we did last week we did the big episode, obviously, about Xbox and blah blah blah. We did it live for everybody. No paywall and things like that. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I have to say, I really, really, really liked it. So I haven't even spoken to you guys about it, but it was just something that I'm thinking that we're gonna do. As I want to try and figure out how we can take the paywall away from the podcast, so we do it live every week, but then we need to replace that with something else, so we're still bringing value to Patreon members, things of that nature. But let us know in the Discord or in the YouTube comments below or on Twitter if that is something you would like for us to start recording the show live. Not only that, I feel like it's going to allow us to be a little bit more dynamic, or is that the right word I'm looking for? Dynamic,
a bit looser, a bit more relaxed.
It's just gonna allow us to, like, something drops. Alright, fuck it. Let's just do it my Xbox and Me.
Yeah.
And we can do it live and bam, bam, bam. More. What's the word I'm looking for? Not dynamic. I'm looking
Spontaneous,
reactive. Stuff like that. So yeah,
words.
something. They're all definitely words in the English dictionary. So we're looking into it. It's something that I'm thinking we should do. But obviously, as always, we want your feedback. And obviously, remember, we are trying to raise money. We are trying to keep this business going. We are trying to pay Despawn for edits. We are trying to do all of that good stuff. So yeah, keep in mind, obviously, it's not as easy. It is as easy as just do it. The thing that I've learned, I'll say it like this, yeah? From the 12-hour stream, the amount of people who were just like, hey, we really love what you're doing. We don't want it to go away, and we'll support you here, and here, right? It made for a very interesting thought in my head where it's like, are you really subscribing for that early access? Or are you just supporting because you want to support? So amongst all of those different thoughts and ideas, there's something that will come of it. So I just thought I'd put that out there for the audience, nonetheless. Don't forget to make sure you hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. Shout out to our Patreon producers, Erengard and Sam. I did get an email back from Sam. Sam was just like, hey, I can't do this all the time. And I was just paying my $10 for the year. So I paid it all in one. But I'll take a Patreon producer shout out if I get one. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. For the month, why the hell not? You're supporting the show. We appreciate you. On the back end, it says $100 on my end. So, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Looks like somebody might be in the outro credits for the month. Just saying.
Wow. Crazy. But yeah, big shout out to Sam. Big shout out to Erengard. We do appreciate both of you. Topic of the show this week, my boys. Microsoft, Activision. Weird saying those two words together. Team is opening a new game studio in Poland. It's called Elsewhere Entertainment to build a new AAA IP. This was taken from Windows Central, and they have the What You Need to Know, which is Microsoft and Activision revealed a new studio today, dubbed Everywhere Entertainment. The firm is comprised of industry vets boasting credits in games like The Last of Us and The Witcher 3. Activision will also revealed a new vacancies. Yeah, just vacancies website for Elsewhere, which will host career options in the coming days. The studio is working on a narrative-based game in a totally new AAA franchise. Now,
Okay, go.
Look, everything being said here, wonderful, amazing, music to my ears, Crash. Oh
Yep.
my god, it's all the things I've wanted from Xbox for the last decade. From studios of games that I love very much so. I believe it when I see it, and good luck to the team. And I've got a lot more to say, but I'll leave it at there for now.
Okay.
Go on, D-Spawn.
Yeah, on paper, I'm very excited for this. Anything like, say, if it's people who've worked on The Last of Us and Witcher 3, arguably two of the best narrative games out there. Like Last of Us definitely is up there. Witcher 3, like that DLC is like some of the best DLC ever released. Yeah, I'm excited. And yeah, like I say, more AAA IPs from Microsoft is never a bad thing. I'm just going to say it. Bit of a weird time to announce it 2 weeks after firing a bunch of people. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but again, I feel like there's going to be more out of that story that comes in the future about why that all happened. But yeah,
of course,
to focus on this studio, I think, you know, obviously they're doubling down on Activision being the driving force behind their profits. Weird, right? The COD people who thought they'd be the ones making money, right?
Who would have thought it? Crazy.
But yeah, like again, everything they've got here sounds great. It looks like, you know, maybe we'll see some of these people that have been let go would maybe go back into the studio. But again, Poland, US, maybe not that much. Not that much crossover unless people really want to travel and really want to work for Activision. Wait, who knows?
You're saying the people who are let go from like Tango and stuff like that coming back for this?
Not just like there's not just Tango. There's also
but I'm saying like the.
I mean,
they would have just announced that they were shuffling people around and closing studios because they didn't need those studios open.
Technically, say they were shuffling some people around.
Yep.
But just to give credit
where they were going. They told us where they were going. They didn't just say.
But you've got to imagine that doesn't all get announced in an email like.
Yeah, especially because they've not announced the studio yet. It's like, but yeah,
I'm just saying, like, if that is what happened, Xbox messaging was ass.
Well, no.
Wait,
let's not get things. Let's not play dumb here. Let's not act like there ain't fucking many people from Japan moving over to fucking Poland to go work on this. There isn't. Let's not be stupid here. But I'm sure there is somebody who was like, I need a job. I will go there. And ultimately, that would then be like, oh yeah, we can reshuffle you to that team over there. They're building this, and your skill set works here, and you want to do that. I am sure there is somebody that you could probably find that this has happened to. Yeah, this news is such a strange one for me because it's such a weird. Obviously, it's a weird time for me as an Xbox fan. Number one, as most people know. I guess it's a great time. Yeah, got a weird reaction from our audience and obviously the audience outside because there was a little bit more than that that obviously listened to that episode. Got a lot of weird DMs. I will say that. Love you guys. I love this audience. I love what we do. Please don't DM me ever. And it isn't just one person, by the way, because I'm sure one person will go, oh, that was me. It's like, no, I got multiple DMs from people telling me to take a break from the thing that I built. And I'm just some schmuck in his bedroom, which I'm not actually. I'm in an office space, which is a spare bedroom, but you know what I mean. Nowadays. But yeah, I'm just some schmuck who likes to talk video games. Sometimes I'm going to talk very, very passionately about that because it's something that I am very much dedicated to and put a lot of time, effort, energy, and I know people like to think that everything's handed to me for free because I'm a quote-unquote influencer, but I put a goddamn lot of money into Xbox as well, just like most people who probably listen to this podcast. With all that being said, like, please don't DM me these things. Like, even people that I respect who message me saying, like, oh, you blew your top, you went off on one. I was like, bro, I didn't even go crazy. I thought I was pretty reserved in the way I was speaking. I think sometimes people forget. Again, I can understand why some people might go, "Oh, he's high rate." It's like, I promise you, I've never been high rate on this podcast yet, ever, because nothing has actually hit me to that level to my core ever yet. And trust me, when you see that, I'll be foaming at the mouth and crying, because that's when you know I've actually gone. It's gone too far.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait until they cancel State of Decay 3, then you'll see it.
No, no. It'd have to be.
I'll give you a calm reaction. Like I didn't believe that game was being made anymore.
No, do you know what? Maybe after, because State of Decay 2 wasn't great. If it was as great, maybe. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there anyway for people. But yeah, this news just comes at a really weird time, because what a weird time to announce that you've just cancelled a bunch of games and, you know, destroyed a bunch of people's lives and destroyed a bunch of studios to then make a new studio. And to me, it feels like cheaper to operate in Poland.
The defense is going to be, it's Activision and Bethesda. ZeniMax is the ones who closed Tango and all those studios. This is going to be the defense, right?
Sure.
I don't think it holds up well. I think at the end of the day, it's still Microsoft, and all that is just like corporate speak to try and like swivel around stuff. And I'm sure there are internal metrics of like, this is how much this studio makes, this is how much, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, it's all under Microsoft, right?
I'm sure it's not cheap to have a studio in Japan when you're an American-based company. I'm sure it's not easy to talk to. I'm sure it's not easy to communicate with. I'm sure it's not easy. I'm sure they liked the idea of it until it was in practice, and they were like, sending emails. We're not getting responses pretty quick, are we? Like, just little things like that you sometimes don't think about. But yeah, I just find this timing very weird. I'll say this the same way I talk about the Initiative, because that was, you know, quadruple A studio, blah 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 blah. We've seen nothing. It's been a really fucking long time. We've seen nothing from them. We've seen no gameplay yet, which I suspect we will see in June. I suspect we will see some gameplay in June. That's just my hypothesis.
Oh, for the Initiative.
What did I say?
Okay, no, you were good. I clarified that for myself, because I was thinking you were talking about the new studio game.
Oh no. Sorry, I'm telling the Initiative. I'm sure we'll see something from them. But I remember when we had the conversation about the Initiative and it being, Xbox are putting money behind a AAA studio, and I remember it being, and they've hired people from this studio and that studio. We've done this before. I'm bored of it.
The most boring conversation pieces. This studio has this person working on it. Isn't that exciting? And I'm like, no. You know how many people work on a game?
Yeah.
One person doesn't shift what a game is. They can lead and help, like, sort of guide that game, but they don't shift where a game is.
It's weird you say that. We'll be talking about the GTA Rockstar developer soon. So keep your eyes locked.
I was going to say, like, there are a couple of people that, like, if they got announced to be working on a particular game, I'd be like, okay, that's a big deal. Like, if Todd Howard went over here or Kojima went over there, and it's like, they were the kind of people that were like, okay, they're the ones working in this new studio. I'd be like, okay.
I think we'll find out. I'm excited. Howard, who works on Fallout 76.
All right, shush.
And Kojima, who's working on this Xbox game that we know nothing about, that could be terrible. I don't. I agree with with what you're saying to a degree, but there's a part of me that goes, I'm on Chris. I mean, Chris just camped for this, where I'm like, one person can have the vision for what they want something to be. But if they're not the ones in there making it, do it, you know, it's like a good chef, right? Like, you know what you want it to taste like. But if you've got 5 different people making the dish, doesn't mean it's gonna taste the way you put your spoon in there and go, that tastes like this. It feels like that with games. Again, I'm an idiot on the internet who talks about video games. I don't know how games are made. I couldn't make a game. I couldn't even make a tree. I couldn't even make a paper airplane, probably. You know, like, I couldn't do any of this shit. But
yeah.
I just don't believe that, like, for me, it's a case of AAA studio in Poland. It just sounds like it's a case of, like, okay, cool. Operation costs are a lot lower in Poland. We've been able to pick up a few people who have left CG Projekt Red and PlayStation.
I was gonna say there's a possibility that there is just, like, sort of an influx of talent there where, like, it makes sense logistically 100%. For them to be like, even if it's not cheaper, like overall operation cost, there's so many people there that it makes sense to open up a new studio there already and
It's
operate out of there. Or
I'm
whatever.
just letting you know.
I'm not saying
It's
I'm not
definitely
saying
cheaper. It is
I'm not
definitely
saying-
cheaper
I'm
to
not saying
operate
it's
in
not
Poland
cheaper.
than it is America.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yeah,
But
no,
there
I'm
is
not
also-
saying that at all. That's not.
Do you
that's
know how
not-
bad the zloty is? Let me tell you. Haley went there, remember? She was like, they went with £100 as their spending money
Yeah.
and came back with money. The zloty is in
crazy.
the bin. Like,
Yeah.
no disrespect to my Poland people. Hey, shout out to you guys. But you get what I'm saying. Like, operating
Yeah.
costs and things like that is like,
Very different.
yeah. And I
And
think
like you
this is,
said-
to be honest with you, so real quickly, Despawn, I think this is where you're going to see things happen more and more. We saw it happen with Canada for a while when they were handing out grants and everyone popped up in Canada. You had studios left, right, and center. And I believe that went away. And then you saw people leave Canada. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. Again, correct me in the questions next week. But yeah, I remember when it was like Montreal for 1 minute in the studio. So yeah.
I also don't think it's necessarily like a negative thing because you do have places where like there's not as many studios, so there's a lot of talent that is untapped, right?
100%. I'm not taking that this is a negative towards, oh my god, they're trying to cut this. From a business perspective, this is an amazing idea and it's a great idea. Find spaces in the world where you can still retain high quality and skilled individuals, Poland now obviously being one of them, and then make a game there, which means it's going to reduce the cost, which we would assume, this is where the problem comes in, Cresto, is like, we assume when this game comes out and then doesn't do very well, or let me rephrase it and say it like this, when this game comes out and does okay, but your costs were so much lower, don't then shut down the studio.
You'd hope it works like that.
Yeah.
You would think so, right?
We don't know how it works is the unfortunate part.
Yeah, that's
We
the
know
last few
nothing.
weeks. I think we found out we don't have a clue how it works.
No,
And
we
here's the thing. Microsoft can tell us, oh, this is working fantastically.
And still
I don't
close
know
it
if I
down.
trust Microsoft anymore.
Well, you just don't know. You shouldn't. You should not trust Microsoft. Let me tell you, you should not trust.
But
Microsoft.
yeah, I think.
But yeah,
I was gonna kind of add on to what you guys have said of being like, yeah, there are places around the world where there's like specific hubs for game development. Like again, places in Poland is a good example. Like you said with Cyberpunk and like that. UK's got specific. I think weirdly, Leamington Spa is like the UK hub for like indie development and like some of the bigger studios as well. There's a couple up north as well. Like there's a couple of Rockstar specifically. But yeah, like there are different little points of like contact for the video game industry that it's like you have to be in that area. And
well,
yeah,
you see
like,
a lot of people coming out of London, right? You see a lot of people like PlayStation shut their London studio down. It's high cost, and you've got more people who want to work from home, and they're like, well, then why the hell do we want this big building? Like sometimes you have to take the context out of making the video game and think about all the other things that come along with that, which is hard for us as gamers, right? Like we go,
where's my shiny thing? I want my shiny thing.
Free. I want that. You know, so. Yeah, interesting nonetheless. Let's jump into this week's dashboard. We got some news for you guys. Actually, a lot of news to go through on the Xbox world. Microsoft bosses reportedly pushing for, quote, no red line around which Xbox games launch on PlayStation. Again, I feel a little bit strange talking about this one because this was taken from Windows Central again, but I've seen a lot of stuff. This came from a feature piece from Jez Corden, who Jez is great on Twitter, by the way. I think he's amazing. I think he's a great spokesperson for video games and obviously Xbox as a whole. But he come out and said, like, a lot of articles have misquoted his article again when talking about this, which has happened now multiple times. We don't talk about it all the time on the podcast. I don't see the point. When someone comes out and says, hey, that's not what I said, or hey, I was having a private conversation with my Discord, which was one of the cases, and gave my opinion, and then people have wrote articles about that. It's one of those ones. So this headline has kind of been taken from a feature that was written by Windows Central, Jez Corden, which says, Microsoft's quest for short-term dollars is doing long-term damage to Windows, Surface, Xbox, and beyond. And he has a great article. Go check it out if you haven't already, obviously. The bottom line comes down to this, right? The rumors out there are, and I can only go by we can only say rumors because we don't know for facts, is that Satya Nadella has had pressure to mandate is a mandate to increase profits, which has prompted unease inside Xbox. I don't know if you guys saw IGN's video. Ryan McCaffrey put out a great Xbox video last week or this week with him talking. He talked to a couple of people, and there was a quote in there which was like, Xbox no longer feels like Xbox, it now feels like Microsoft gaming, which I think plays into our conversation that we've been having now for a couple of weeks, right? Which is like ecosystem, yay. This doesn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form. It feels very much like the way PlayStation are operating. Obviously, today is the 16th of the 5th or the 5th of the 16th, depending on what country you're listening to this in. I always go to America. I feel bad for every other country. I know you're out there. I am sorry.
We see you,
but Ghost of Tsushima's come out on PC, and you've obviously seen the window for like games coming from PlayStation to PC have now getting quicker and quicker and quicker. I think it's the same thing with this, right? Like the red line, the no red line, and the push and blah 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 blah. I think this is what you're going to see. We're going to see Starfield on PlayStation soon. They've seen the success of CFEs being the #1 selling game on PlayStation, and you think they're not going to go, no thank you, I don't want any of that money. Like we're gonna see this happen more and more, Crash, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, we talk about it all the time where software is the biggest like profit for a lot of these bigger companies, especially like PlayStation and Microsoft. And before, to get the most profit, you released games on your platform and you made your platform the most popular place. Now you have PC, which is really huge. And then if you're Xbox and you are the smaller of the two, you have the other side selling, what was it, 5-1 this past year or something like that?
5-1.
Yeah. PlayStation outsold Xbox 5-1. And if you look at that and you're like, well, we could release these games 6 months later, a year later, or whatever, and make a lot of money off of them, or we could just sit on it and make no money. It kind of doesn't make sense for them not to do that from like a business standpoint, right?
My question for both of you, I guess, is what's the amount of time that you are comfortable next generation, right? You talk about forget this gen's kind of in a weird place right now. Xbox announced the next Xbox, PlayStation announced the next PlayStation. You are thinking about buying an Xbox. What is the number that you are comfortable with knowing your games will continue to be exclusive? Or is it a case of the buck is, for me, this is where I'm at, the buck is too far gone now, I'll just buy a PC, and we all own PCs, but you know what I mean. I'll just buy a PC and I'll play the games there. I'm not going to buy a console again. Is there a number in your head where you're like, I'm comfortable with keep investing in this ecosystem if things remain a certain way at this time frame? Is there something you think of or not really?
So I think we're in a weird situation because, like you say, we're all PC gamers as well. We've got
nerds, yeah,
we're nerds. So like 90% of my stuff is on PC. The only time I'm really playing on my console now is if it's a specific game that we all need to play together on console, or I'm covering. Oh yeah, Matt. Or I'm covering. Yes, I was Matt. Or I'm covering something specifically for this channel where I want to make sure that I'm covering an Xbox version of it. So for me personally, I don't really have a horse in the race that much anymore. But for the ecosystem itself, like again, specifically we're talking about like let's say Game Pass. The value that it adds to Game Pass having those exclusives in there, I've got to say like a minimum 6 months.
6 months, okay, interesting.
So I'm with you both on for me personally, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I think I'm gonna be wild with this take, and I don't think people are gonna agree with me at all. I think a month. I think you have a month of FOMO, and then after the month, you have it on Game Pass already. You release it on other consoles. Do
not get confused what I'm about to say as something that I want and something that I agree with. Okay, this makes it very clear for the audience.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. It's that initial like, ha, we have it, you don't, and then it's a case of, I think 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
Least, then you get people again, and this is not what I want to happen. I like exclusives. I like being forced to buy each platform so I get my unique experience. I'm making that perfectly clear. But I think 3 months is enough time to then still convince people to make if it's a I don't know, let's say it's they haven't really got the IP like PlayStation do, but like imagine it was a Spider-Man, but it was on Xbox, right? That's a
Right.
game that would sell systems. Right, I think that's where and when I say systems, I mean Xbox is with those people who don't want to buy a PC,
Mhm.
right? Because I do think sometimes us being the nerds that we are, we do sometimes forget that there are people out there that do not want to play games on a PC, whether
see
it's
you,
with a
Greg Miller.
controller or not. Like it's just not their way of wanting
Yeah.
to play games, and it's totally understandable.
And it's not just a preference. It's like there is a financial thing. It's like you could spend £400-500 on a console,
You could
or you have to spend
could buy-
£2,000 on a PC.
you could buy
that-
both consoles and
Yeah.
be in a better spot than buying a PC.
A better spot.
Financially.
Some people.
Different
No, for some people it's a better spot.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a PC
Different
setup, you don't
conversation.
have your desk, you don't have your.
different conversation.
It is a different conversation.
Different conversation. But yeah, no, I'm with you, Crush. I think,
Yeah.
and again, not what I want, but I think we're gonna get to that point, right, where it's like initial. It feels very much like early access for games. There's a
I was
lot
gonna
of
say that,
conversation
yeah.
going around about that right now, isn't there? Like, it's that whole I'm gonna get this because I want the 3 days,
Yeah.
but it doesn't bother. It doesn't bother, and that's why I'm opted into Game Pass or EA Access or whatever else system. For me, go on.
I was just going to clarify, like even though I said a month, I'm 100% with you. I don't want that to be the case.
Yeah.
I don't think
No,
that's
yeah.
great for Xbox optics from other people. I think it's great for Xbox like business wise.
I was gonna say, money wise, fantastic for
Yeah.
Xbox.
So I'm just putting it out there. I think what I think might happen in the future. I think Xbox are 100% going to go the way of Sega. They're going to become
Yeah.
a third-party software publisher only, because we already know that. Like,
No,
you don't think so? You don't think they'll stop making consoles?
no, I think they've got too much invested in it. You know, like I feel like
It's the hub of the ecosystem.
agreed.
I think you will see them divest into other places where you'd never have to own an Xbox console to be in the ecosystem. But I think for them, it's like, hey, you spent X amount of time playing our games, like the console's on sale, or we just released a new console and you have the financial means, invest in it and you're going to get a better experience. I think that's sort of like their one up and the thing that ties all their games together. You know, the quote unquote metaverse situation of where like you want everything to be connected. I think for Xbox, all their games will be connected through the box. Or PC. I think either or. I think they'll put more emphasis on PC.
I think the box is the main thing, and then it comes out. You've got to give Xbox credit where credit's due when it comes to this, right? Like they are the ones who have the Play Anywhere initiative. They are the ones that have they are the ones that have all these things, and that's why I don't think they'll just drop all of that. Dropping the console means you're going to lose all. As much as we're all up in arms about these game studios, dropping the console, even for me, who's someone who probably won't buy the next Xbox console, right? You drop the console, it tells me everything about where you're going as a console, as a game publisher, because you no longer believe in yourselves to even be able to sell hardware, which then means you can then start. I think the quality of game can then come down again in terms of like, I love Sega, but Sega didn't publish like the greatest games, and they still don't. To like for me right now, right? Like. So they're not gonna go what? Name me some of Sega's greatest games. You're gonna say, I know what game you're gonna say. Infinite Wealth. Yeah. I understand that. Yeah. I knew you were gonna say that. But other than that, what else?
Persona.
Okay, 2 JRPGs. Next.
Simpson Hit and Run.
People love Sonic.
No, wasn't Sega. No, they do.
Sonic Adventure 2. There you go.
I just don't see it. Is what I'm saying. I just don't see it. I think as soon as you turn your back on the console gamers, you've really lost a lot of people.
Sega does like put out a lot of what's the best way to put it? A lot of double A games.
Yeah.
But
the stuff that's not for you.
But I mean, leaning into what you've just said there of like turning their back on the are they turning their back on the gamers if they then go right instead of
Yes.
Yes.
Because your library.
Let me land.
Okay, I apologize.
As we
don't
like to say
apologise.
here. That's fine. You never do. It's fine. But what I was going to say is, are they turning their back on the gamers? If they are already working on giving an ecosystem that offers you access to your backwards compatible library, they're talking about moving everything into the clouds where you can play it there. Let me. I see you wanting to say something. You can say at the end. But then they're now wanting to bring more games to more people by adding them all to PlayStation. And bringing them all to PlayStation day one. That's not turning the back. That's going to more gamers. That's going to where the gamers are.
It's turning your back
that's
on the
going
people-
to other gamers.
Thank you. I agree.
Where all the profits are. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but I think it's a non-invoid conversation, to be honest.
Okay.
It's like it's just not right now. And I just think they've already said they're putting out new hardware, so you've changed my conversation anyway. But yeah, no, I'm with you, Krish. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it start at a year and then go from there, and it keep continuing to drop down to about. I'd be surprised if 3 months is 6 months maybe, but then after that, they want to still keep that hype.
I think there'll be certain games. I think certain multiplayer games you could see a month later, where it's like the hype's still there for that game. You release it on another console, you have another boom for it, or something like that.
I see it differently. I see it of like, I'm not saying it's obviously not the next Halo and next Gears, but maybe the ones after that, where it's like, yeah, multiplayer free to play everywhere.
Campaign
every
on
campaign.
And this campaign is only exclusive on Xbox.
Okay, I could see that as well.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you want to play the campaign? You come over to Game Pass and it's there. And the same for Gears. So the people that really care are still getting what they want, but they're still trying to monetize, the free-to-play skins, this, that, the other, on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Nintendo.
I think for multiplayer games, I think if you're a fan of those games, that's probably also best case because you open up the player base for those games. Because Gears of War notoriously drops so fast.
I'd love that for more casuals in Gears, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Let me introduce them firsthand to the shotgun meta. Let me.
Yes. But yeah, I just think it's an interesting discussion nonetheless. But yeah, not a surprise. Not a surprise to see it happen. Next up, Xbox are rolling out mouse and keyboard support for cloud gaming and other. What is it? Krish has decided to put his mouse over the title, so I couldn't read it. And actually markets its up and coming exclusives a little. They're talking about Hellblade actually getting it. Are we still? Let's go off with that a little bit.
Okay.
Anyone shocked by the little amount of marketing for Hellblade?
No. Because
Yes
it's not
and no.
little. I'm seeing it literally everywhere.
No, but you're seeing it
Now.
everywhere a week before the game comes out.
2 weeks. I've been seeing it for the last week as well, which is totally normal, I think, for a full-fledged campaign. Especially for a game we've been talking about for 24 years. It feels.
I would agree with you if we didn't see Redfall marketing.
Yeah.
We saw what Microsoft can do when they really want to market a game, and they really marketed Redfall. And they marketed Redfall amazing. Do you know how different the conversation would be if Redfall was a success and Microsoft marketed it the way they did?
I agree.
And Microsoft hasn't marketed a game that way I can't remember the last game other than Redfall they've marketed like that.
Is it because of Redfall that they're not doing it that way anymore then?
No, because the shit game's still a shit game. It doesn't matter how much you polish it. Like you can put as much marketing behind a shit game if it's bad. As gamers, we talk about that, right? You can't. If that's how they're deciding things, they're idiots.
No,
And
I'm saying is
they're
like
definitely not idiots.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like, did they put so much like marketing power behind that game, and then it was a flop? Are they worried about doing that again? Like, are they kind of being a bit more subdued with their marketing campaigns?
Maybe
Because, like,
that's
say,
not the way to go, right?
we've
That's
not-
not the way
like-
to do it.
Actually, I was going to say like we've not heard anything since then, but like Starfield had a huge marketing campaign. Like the arguments was like it's on every bus that we see in the UK.
That's true.
Starfield did have a good marketing campaign.
Mhm.
But Hellblade doesn't even match that marketing campaign,
No.
which
No.
makes it which could be like that's just a Bethesda thing, which is
Yeah.
very, very possible.
Do you know what I think it is?
Go on.
Again, you're not going to hear about my thoughts on Hellblade unless you go listen to MXAMX, right? But I played Hellblade finally. beat it in 2 sittings. Love the game, but I'll talk about it more in depth on MXM Extra. I think it's because of the type of game that it is, and I agree with you a little bit, Despawn. They are scared in a way that if they overmarket it, and it is only a 6 to 8 hour experience, and they're charging, I guess it's £40, £50. I don't know what it is. Might be 70. If it's 70, I'm very interested. And then they market it a certain type of way, and then people get up in arms about it. I think it's the little bit of reluctant to really put everything behind it. And after playing the game, I stand by everything that I thought about Hellblade as well, Hellblade 2, where I'm like, so many people are not gonna like this game.
It's a $50 game.
Yeah, I thought so. Which should tell you everything about its length.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I think that's why, though. That's what I think it's that reluctantness of like, this game's going to be beautiful. This game's going to be emotional. This game's going to have a great story. This game's going to be very basic in its combat again. And this game's going to be very heavily on puzzles, which are, whether or not you like that or not, it's down to you. But that is what Hellblade is. The problem is, as people are going to be quick to forget, they marketed the Xbox Series console with this game.
I think the damage of what you're talking about has already been done with the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think people's perception of the game is already
out of whack.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think people's expectations are God of War, not Hellblade.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, because of what, like you said as well, because they put so much like emphasis on this being the game of the series consoles. It's like, if it, like you say, if it isn't the game of the generation, then it's just like, it's a failure in a lot of people's eyes, which is not. I mean, if it's a better version of Hellblade, it's a it's a
solid
thing.
8 game.
Yeah. Then I'm all right with that. But yeah, I think like you say, I think the problem is that the initial marketing for it was so heavy, and it was so long ago that it's just like, nowadays it's just like, all right, let's just chill a little bit with the marketing. Like I've seen a lot of people talking about like how like it's not getting enough marketing, it's not getting any marketing. I think the marketing's fine. Every day it seems to be like a new activation.
I think the problem with the marketing is in connection with the shutting down of Tango after Hi-Fi Rush.
I agree.
Of where like, if you're not gonna give the games the best chance to perform well, how do you judge anything? And I think this goes into the bag of like, we don't know what Xbox considers a success anymore. At one point we thought we did. It just has to be a good game for Game Pass, going back all the way to I've mentioned a couple times, Gears Tactics. I think that's when the conversation really started of, you can be a Game Pass game, was around then. And so I think with the marketing they've done for the game after the studio shutdown, because the conversations about this game not really getting marketing happened after the Tango stuff and the Arcane stuff and everything. So I think that's really where that conversation comes from. And from that aspect, I think I agree with it. I don't think any level of marketing, I think as far as like changing perception, I think the perception for that game is already made of, this is Xbox's God of War, even though that's not what it is. That's not what it ever was. And that's not what it will be, I'd assume.
No, I do agree. To bring it back to the topic at hand, which is Xbox rolls out mouse and keyboard support for cloud gaming. So for people who don't know, this comes out. This is in the May update, which is now here. For people who don't know, they didn't have mouse and keyboard for cloud, which is super weird, right? Like this should have been here for ages. I'm surprised that it hasn't been. You don't think so?
Well, I think cloud was kind of pushed as the mobile centric way of playing. So why would you need mouse and keyboard for a mobile
because
centric
they also
thing?
have it on PC.
Yeah, but it wasn't the focus for them, is what I'm saying.
But
you couldn't play,
and again, it's beta, so
cloud games on PC with mouse and keyboard?
No.
Okay, that is weird.
You always had to have
I thought it was like connecting Bluetooth to like a fucking phone or whatever. They added that support.
Unless it was touch control on mobile, it always had to have a controller connected.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I think it just took a long time to come.
Yeah.
But clearly, there's more to it than it's not. There's more to it clearly than them the way I'm talking. Oh, you should have turned the Switch on. Done. Like,
Yeah.
no, obviously not. So, but yeah, happy for people who enjoy cloud to be able to finally be able to use mouse and keyboard. Moving on, rolling with the punches. Xbox introduces a new how do I say this?
Proteus.
Proteus, thank you. Xbox accessibility controller for pre-order, which is now available. Yeah, it's a weird one, man. It's not weird because I love it. I love accessibility. I know enough people who use the old accessibility controller. The thing that always makes it weird, I had a disabled cousin, right, who we had to raise money for wheelchairs and things like that, right? It's always weird to me how expensive these things are.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it makes sense why they're expensive. It's a piece of hardware that is very unique and very different, right? Because it's made to be adapted for people who need it. But I'm seeing the price on this thing. The controller's for pre-order is now at $255 for early orders. The price will go up though to $299.
That's crazy.
£300 for a controller.
While I agree, it's a lot of money for what this thing does. I can see where a lot of that money goes. And
talk to me. Where's it go?
It's fully modular, so you can mix and match every single piece in it. So you're gonna have to make it so that every single piece can work together in whatever order you want to put it. Mm-hmm. So, think about how much does it cost for an Elite controller with just adapted triggers and better motors inside it? And now you're gonna have a controller that can be basically designed modularly to be used in any configuration that you want in a single hand. There's a lot of money to research that kind of stuff.
No,
and then
100%.
Yeah,
the
production of it as well.
It's something that no matter the justification for the price won't not feel predatory, because it's not a sort of luxury item. It is an item some people need to be able to play games. Otherwise they struggle. So I think there's always going to be no matter the reasoning, I 100% everything you said makes sense why it costs that much. The R&D on that had to have been expensive and all that stuff. It still sucks for people who need it to play for it to cost that much.
Have you seen it? Have you seen all the parts and stuff? It looks amazing. Just hats off to Xbox and their engineers and whoever made this happen. And whoever, there was somebody inside who was no, we need to do this. And that is huge. So congratulations to whoever that is. But yeah, it's just the price is, and I don't know, maybe it's the Londoner in me, but it's just I just can't.
It's a lot, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, if my kid or sister, brother, cousin needed this, I'd pay them all day, every day. I love games and I want them to be able to experience games. So I would make it happen, right? But it just, to me, it's I don't know, the disabled kid at home who's struggling with a controller right now, and it's oh, mum, they just brought out, this new controller. It's perfect. It's for people like me. Mm-hmm. And then mum looks at it and goes, "Yeah, Jimmy, but it's £300."
Yeah.
Or
it's they literally can't afford it. There's no way they could ever.
I was gonna say, I remember the wheelchair for my cousin Haley who passed away. It was I think it was 30-40 grand.
Yeah, they're not
for a wheelchair.
Not cheap. Yeah, I mean, again, devil's advocate time. Yeah, I'm going to say when you are mass marketing or mass producing a normal controller, easy to get your costs down because you're bulk producing. These, I can imagine there's not going to be a bulk shipment of that many that's being made, just because of the amount of use cases there's going to be for it. You would hope over time as well, obviously, as production comes, streamlining that process, it'll become down cheaper maybe in future iterations. I know, again, although it's not the great case, I do want to shout out there are people like Able Gamers that will also help people who things like they need this. That is a really good charity that you can reach out to. So definitely go check them out if that's something that you obviously you can't afford this, but you want to get into gaming, and this is something that you would need. Looking at things like that.
100%. No, yeah, it's good on the Xbox. Just get the cost down if we can. But it is what it is, like you say. Next up, Xbox Mobile Store to launch this summer. Xbox are finally launching a storefront to launch its first-party titles such as Candy Crush and Minecraft on mobile. It will launch in July, and Xbox President Sarah Bond revealed in an interview with Bloomberg, which we'll talk about Sarah Bond in a moment, actually, at the Technology Summit on Thursday. She had this to say, quote, "We're doing that because that really allows us to have it be an experience that players experience that's accessible across all devices, all countries, no matter what, independent of the policy of closed ecosystem stores," said Bond. And then we're going to extend from there. So she's obviously talking about the store. I like the idea, to be totally honest with you, of the mobile store having its own store. Just like Xbox does, just like PC does. And again, I don't know who I need to say this to, but please, Xbox, work on the Xbox Game Pass app. It's dog shit. And then also work on making it look. I don't know why they can't just make it look like the Xbox UI, and then have it look clean and sleek, and it is so bad.
Yeah, the Game Pass app is not great. The Xbox app itself is all right, but yeah, I don't understand why there's 3 separate apps as well.
Well, I think that's part of the problem. I think as well.
Well,
It's
I've got an Xbox
why
app,
is there
a Game Pass
app, an Xbox app, this app,
Cloud app?
Yeah.
Can I be honest? I didn't know there was a Game Pass app.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you
Don't you just do everything through the Xbox app?
Nope.
No, you're probably talking about the Game Pass app. It's called Xbox.
No, there's
but it's a Game Pass app. Got it.
That's the Game Pass app that you're talking about.
Nope, there is a separate app for Game Pass specifically.
What do you
mean? I didn't know that.
I'll show you my my current apps on my phone. I don't know if you can really see them.
Oh, on your phone.
There is an Xbox app, a cloud gaming app, a Game Pass app.
No, yeah, but that makes sense to me in a way. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about desktop.
No, this is
this
article's on mobile.
I was talking. No, I agree with you on the mobile. Sorry, I think we're all getting our wires.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Game Pass app on PC. Is dog shit.
Right. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, it is.
The UI and things like that. Like the fact that I can't enter my friends list here. It's down in this bottom corner in this little tiny widget. It's make it like the Xbox home and sleek design and cool. And it's just not cool. It's not interesting. It's just ugh.
It is
horrible.
It's basically a leftover of the beginning of the generation that's not really caught up.
I agree. Yeah, that's pretty.
It's not had the love. It's just not had the love that it deserves.
No, I agree. I do agree. Moving on, but yeah, the store's coming, so people who are going to play on mobile.
I'm going to say,
the one thing I will say is I don't see people who want to play Candy Crush. They're not going to be able to get their minds around, I need to go to the Xbox app to play Candy Crush.
Yeah, I think that's going to change going forwards. I think Xbox are basically getting in front of everyone else because we've not talked about it on here, I don't think, but there was the recent announcement that iPhones and I guess Google as well are going to be opening up their storefronts to other storefronts.
Yes.
So I think this is the precursor to that, is basically there is going to be an Xbox storefront on mobiles, which right now I think this one says it's just going to be a browser app to start with. But as it comes along, it's going to be, as it goes forward, it is going to become its own unified store. So I guess as people get used to that, you go the Xbox app for the Xbox games for the Xbox store. There'll be a PlayStation one where you can go buy PlayStation games and then upload them onto your PS5 through remote loading and things like that. So there will be options, and I think as they start coming, I think people get used to that. But right now it feels weird because there is only just one app store. So yeah, as you get more, I think it'll become more natural.
Fair enough. Last but not least, we got two more. Sorry, apologies. After the shutdown, the Fi-Fi Rush devs release final update with patch notes. Thanks for your support and keep on rocking on. Just wanted to add that in here, obviously for this week's show. Nice touch from the devs. Mate, still angry. Can't sit here and lie and act like I'm not. Still angry. Still upset. Still frustrated. Still confused. And to weave into the Sarah Bond interview. Did anyone watch the Sarah Bond interview?
Yes.
I didn't see all of it. I saw clips of it. I saw the clip, which was, oof. That was not good. Whoever was working behind the scenes as a producer for that section, kudos, but ouch also. So for those who don't know which bit I'm talking about, there's basically they were talking about, oh, we have to make sure that we're doing right for our company and all this and all that. And then behind Sarah Bond on the screen above her was a graph of Microsoft's year-on-year profits, which showed a huge increase over the last few
20
years.
billion, right?
Yeah.
It was a 20 billion graph, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that wasn't a great look at the time. Yeah.
Crash.
That just first of all, I think my initial response, and I think I tweeted out, was just trash. I think it was like such a horrible, and I don't think it's Sarah Bond's fault. I think this just shows that it was like above Xbox's head. The decision was made above Xbox's head, but that's still like, regardless of that, Sarah Bond is a part of Xbox at the end of the day. That's just a trash response. Yeah, it's just a trash response.
That's the horrible Xbox president saying what. Again, I don't have the quote set in front of me. But yeah, if you haven't seen the interview, go check it out. I think it was Bloomberg. I think it was. She's obviously asked about the shutters of the studios, and the response is just very empty.
It's success is measured differently based game to game or whatever the case is. Yeah. And it's weird because that makes the whatever they talked about a year ago when they were talking about Hi-Fi Rush and how it's a success, it just makes that that look just weirder and that conversation look weirder.
Yeah.
To me, it just feels like it's almost like we shouldn't believe a word anything they say anymore. Is honestly, that's just how I know I'm the jaded old man at this point, I guess, on the podcast, but it's just like after hearing these executives come in and talk, and it just isn't right, it isn't working, and I don't believe a word they say. We've gone from the days of in Phil we trust, Shuya Ishida over on Xbox PlayStation side, me enjoying these company heads, Adam Boyce, and even I don't even mind Herman, to be honest. He seems like a straight shooter who's now obviously in charge over in PlayStation. And then over in Xbox, obviously with Aaron Greenberg. I like Aaron Greenberg, but it's hard to say one thing and then and it's not Aaron's fault, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not Aaron's fault. Like, it really isn't. But it is hard to come out and say, like, yeah, the success was there, and then this all comes out.
I was thinking about it for a little bit, and I think Xbox's biggest issue with all of this and everything that's been happening recently is ultimately Xbox positioned its heads of company to be people.
Yeah.
And when you show up as Phil Spencer, as a person, not the head of Xbox or whatever, and you're having a conversation and you say everything and you mean it, but then you have to look at the business side of things and you have to like move back on some of the stuff you said. It comes off as you being dishonest and unloyal in certain cases. Whether or not that's the case, whether or not Phil Spencer tried his best to be best for gamers, et cetera, I'm 100% sure that's all true. But at the end of the day, we only can judge off of what happened and not what happened behind closed doors, because that's irrelevant to us at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's the classic thing of like actions speak louder than words, and he can say all these things about how he's a gamer and all that kind of stuff, but like the actions are there. They've closed one of the best studios that made one of the best games they had last year, and yeah, we have no tangible reason why. We know why it's money and all that kind of stuff, but like, why choose Tango of all the studios? I've got to think there's something great.
I wish they just would have came out and said, like, yo, operation costs in Japan are expensive, blah, 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 blah. We've offered them to relocate to here, here, and here, blah, 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 blah. But I don't think any of that was true. Like, I don't think that happened. So, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Last thing on all this, because there is a tiny, tiny bit more to talk about when it comes to these shutters of these studios. If I can get my article to come up. Xbox, apparently Arcane Austin was in the process of pitching a new Dishonored game, while Tango was looking to start work on Hi-Fi Rush 2. This was reported on by Jason Schreier. I'll be honest, it makes me feel a little bit better because I would have preferred it even within 3. So,
yeah, I know. But would you ever get one without Shinji?
I think so.
I think we'll still get one at some point.
I thought so.
Yeah, Do
you know what, Crash? Weirdly, so do I. I don't think it's going to be very good. But I think Xbox will now hand out they have so much IP now that I think they'll hand out their IP a lot, and the Evil Within 3, for good or bad, at this point, people are going to be interested to see what that game it looks like outside of the hands of Tango. I am. I'd be looking forward to it.
So this is a little bit off topic and a little bit of a tangent. So Capcom goes down its route. It does the remakes. It finishes all it could possibly do with side stuff in Resident Evil aside from like main titles, right? And Resident Evil is just main titles. And then Xbox approaches Capcom and they're like, hey, we noticed you have that extra Resident Evil studio that's really good at horror games. We have this franchise.
No chance.
No chance?
No, because that is direct competition to Capcom's bread and butter. And you've got to remember, Capcom own Resident Evil. They don't. They will not and won't ever own the Evil Within, and nor do I think they would want to. You got to remember, the Evil Within only exists because Shinji Mikami wanted to make another horror game, right? And it's the spiritual successor to that in a way, you know, like it's the I can't make Resident Evil anymore, so I'm gonna make this.
Mm-hmm.
So from Capcom's point of view, I think it's like maybe Capcom of like old, where like, you know.
Yeah, where they were struggling.
They needed the money.
But
Capcom right now, and Capcom probably for furthermore now with Monster Hunter and Resident Evil, you know, those two pillars are able to run their entire company off of that. And then some of these other weird games that come out. But we're looking at you, Exoprimal. But yeah, no, unfortunately not. I think you're more likely to see a AA reboot of the Evil Within. Like, you know,
something along like I would have put it out like the medium levels.
So
yeah,
a smaller studio makes a smaller horror games. I'm not in tune with horror games, so I don't know what's successful out there. But they make a horror game. They're looking at Microsoft, or Microsoft sees that and they approach them and they're like, "Hey, you guys want to make an Evil Within game?"
I don't know the team name, but the team that made Callisto Protocol. Right, that game had a lot of good ideas, but it felt like a game that wasn't reined in enough, and that's why it ended up not being as good. I feel like a team like that could make a really good Evil Within game. I don't think they will. I think they'll carry on doing independent stuff. Again, Chris, no disrespect, but who wants to work for Microsoft right now? Unless it's a very similar, unless you need money.
Yeah.
And that changes the conversation for everything. But unless you need money, or you're a up and coming studio, or you know, or the money they throw at you is going to be so good for your entire 20-man team, let's say, or person team, why would you get in bed with Microsoft right now?
Yeah. Also, to answer your question, it was Striking Distance who worked on Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, there you go. Like someone like that, you know, could easily do a decent job. And again, does Microsoft want decent? Does Microsoft want great? We don't know what Microsoft wants.
Microsoft wants cheap. Microsoft want profits. Damn it.
Yeah, well, don't we?
Don't
we all? Teaspoon, guess that game time, brother.
Hi, it's time for Guess That Game. For those that don't know what Guess That Game is our weekly show within a show where we basically, one of us, 3, maybe 4 people, will choose a game that the other members have to decide what that game is. They have 90 seconds on the clock to ask yes or no questions. The rules are basically quite simple. It has to have released on an Xbox. Generally stick to franchises if you're choosing franchises. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Fix,
Yep.
What are the scores?
The scores look like this. We have the one and only Crash sitting at 7 points. You sitting at 4 points, which I don't know how. Me sitting at 3 points, and Matt sitting at 2 points.
Okay.
Why the pregnant pause?
He wanted it to sit in that Matt has 2 points, 1 point less than you, and Matt's barely on this podcast.
Yeah, because I get stuck with D-Spawn, like fucking guessing the worst fucking things ever. He sucks.
It's true, I do.
This is where I get a point, though. So come on, let's do it.
Okay, let me get a clock up. I have a clock in front of me. We're not going to do the whole showing you guys. I'm just going to press start when I'm ready.
Sure.
I have the wiki article in front of me, so I'm ready to go. You can't see the reflection in my glasses. Ready when you guys are?
Ready?
We're going to start with Crash, because I feel like we always start with Fix. I'm going to start with Crash this week.
Okay.
And yeah, time starts now.
Is it a major AAA studio?
Yes.
Is it a space game?
No.
Capcom.
No.
EA,
No.
Activision.
No.
Xbox,
Yes.
First party.
Yes.
tactical game,
No. Not listed as tactical.
360.
No.
Xbox One,
Yes.
Action adventure.
There is action and adventure in there. Yes.
weird way to answer that question. Do we ask if it's first party?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's exclusive.
Yeah. It's
Female
exclusive.
protagonist?
Yes.
So create your own character.
Yeah, it must
Sci-fi.
be.
No.
Jesus. Shooting's the main thing you do?
Nope.
Fantasy.
Yes.
Okay. Pass.
15 seconds.
Platforming, is there platforming in it at all?
Not really.
I mean, I'm guessing we both know.
No,
Oh.
I don't
that's why-
know.
That's why I passed, because I was like, I don't want to say anything else.
You made the right choice. I don't know.
Time is up.
I have
think
no.
I think we should get one pass in case we know the answer.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Xbox One, a fantasy game. You can create a character.
It's not Xbox One, it's OG Xbox.
Oh,
Yeah.
OG Xbox.
Yeah.
You didn't say that.
Did I not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is it
I
Xbox One?
asked Xbox One, and
My
you said
apologies.
yes.
No, it's.
I know
first
it even more now, but
Okay. It's OG Xbox. There you
OG
go.
X-
Clarify that for you.
A fantasy game that you make your own character.
how long we giving him? He's top. How many long we
Yeah.
giving him?
No more.
How long does he get?
Wait, no. You guys have gotten like a minute.
yeah,
plus
that's
to
true, we
guess.
have.
Let's not
How
do
long
this.
does he
No, we're
get?
not doing this. We're not doing
How
this.
long does he get? He's got 7
we're not
points. How
doing
long
this.
does he get?
30 seconds?
That's crazy. Remember, you
joking,
guys
I'm
gave me
joking,
30
I'm joking, it's
seconds.
fine.
Remember, you guys gave me 30
No, that's fine.
seconds.
I'm joking. If you want any clarifications, let me know. I'm here
No,
for you.
I don't want any clarifications.
Nah,
I just
I'm
need
good.
a moment to think.
You
I
good?
just,
I'm good.
Xbox,
You good?
OG Xbox, a fantasy game
Yep.
that you create your own character.
Come on, brother.
I mean, I'll clarify.
I'm-
No,
Yes.
Deep don't say anything. Do not.
Okay.
You don't have
Say
to. You don't have to.
anything.
I
Okay.
have a guess, but
Well, of
Alright.
course.
oh,
See, too long.
Okay.
Done.
I think I got it.
Okay.
Too
We'll see.
long.
We'll
Too
see.
long.
We're gonna go with fix first.
I want a timer on
Yeah, that's fine.
once it's
Okay.
done from now on.
Okay,
I want
30
How long?
seconds.
How long are we giving
seconds.
people?
I want 30
30 seconds.
seconds.
Okay.
30 seconds for clarifications. Got you. Okay.
The game is Fable.
Elder Scrolls.
That is a point to fix. Because I never once said it was a create your own character. You asked if it was a female protagonist, and
No,
I went,
I didn't. Yeah, it's one or the other. So it's boy or
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
No, you. So the reason I didn't guess Fable, I didn't remember you could play as a girl in Fable 1.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah.
hang on.
Come on,
I had
baby.
Fable until the end, and then I was like, oh no, Elder Scrolls. You can create a
Nope.
character in Elder Scrolls.
No, it's
Wow.
not create your own.
I psyched myself out of that answer.
Mhm.
Thank God. Thank God.
Damn.
The points look like this: Question 7, Despawn 4, me on 4, and Matt on a lousy 2. Let's jump into Fix's Sack real quick. Remember, you can email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com. Join the Discord if you haven't, in the description below. First question comes from Yami, who says, just saw a question/poll on Twitter from Jess Corden and thought it would be a good discussion for the crew. Do you think Xbox should stop doing day one AAA games into the service? 1, yes. 2, make it Ultimate only. 3, no. And 4, I don't use Game Pass. I personally say make it Ultimate only and then drop them into regular Game Pass a year down the road. It makes some people either buy it now or have FOMO. Ultimate only makes it feel like UB Plus. You can get the best version of UB games if you pay for that subscription. Don't really understand the question, if I'm honest. So, do you
this
think Xbox- I get-
conversation
Yeah, go on.
came from the story, which we didn't talk about, but the internal like conversations of whether Call of Duty will be exclusive or
Oh, we forgot to talk
not
about that.
exclusive,
Yeah,
Game Pass or whatever.
There's rumors that it won't be in Game Pass, right?
Yeah, that the conversation was happening, but I think Sarah Bond or somebody came out and said that it will be, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody in chat can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think they came out and clarified, and I think it's because of the negative PR, but whatever. That's a different conversation. So that's where this whole conversation came out.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't hate Yami's idea.
I do.
I mean, it basically becomes the PlayStation tier, right?
I don't.
It's a level of you can't market something the way they've marketed it now for years and years and years and years and years. Best way to put, like, you know, all the slogans or whatever, right? Like, you can't do that and then be like, we're taking it away.
Yeah.
I also just want to clarify that if what you view as Game Pass right now is unsustainable because you put your AAA games onto the service, I don't think limiting it to the highest tier fixes that issue.
No.
So I think if you wanted a fix and there is an issue internally, which we have no clue if that's the issue, then you take it off of Game Pass completely for a year.
You know, you're even gonna go with my joke.
Yeah, I heard you. It took me a minute to process because when you said I'm right here, I was saying issues, and I'm like, what do you mean you're the issue?
No, yeah, I think I just don't like the idea of God giveth, God taketh away type thing. Like that's what it feels like to me. Is you're poor now, you can't afford this. No, thank you. You don't get it anymore. Like either launch it the way UB Plus has been launched, which is very much like we have UB Classics, we have Ubisoft Plus. And they are two different services, very close to each other, but that's what they are. Ultimate was never that. Ultimate was, do you want to play your games on PC and or console?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Ultimate. Like, you can't then be like, please.
The comparison to UB kind of falls flat also because Xbox doesn't include expansions and DLC and stuff like that on Game Pass. You have to buy those separately.
Not only that, there's Xbox are feeding that pass every single month. With third-party content as well, where obviously Ubisoft isn't. To me, it's just like no, like
either take it out.
No, the answer is no. It was either get rid of Game Pass and say, hey, it didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work. Let's go back to the normal formula, which is everyone's paying $70 for games now. We tried something, it didn't work. Blah blah blah. They will never do that, by the way. It will never happen. They have put too much money. There's too much data they have on us for owning Game Pass. To give that up, but no, you can't put the cat back in the bag, the hat. What's the saying? This one,
genie back in the bottle.
Genie back in the bottle. You can't put the turtle back in the bowl because it just doesn't work. You know,
you can't put the fish back in the blender. What?
You can't put the tea back in the sea.
Yes, you can. We did it to you guys.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he did.
I forgot about.
Still salty about that.
It just no Yami is my answer. I just don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I saw this and I did vote no as well. I don't think you can I agree with what you're saying. I don't think you can remove what's already there. Like again, if this was day one and this was Game Pass announcing, I could see them doing it, but no, not now. It's too late.
I think as far as Call of Duty is concerned, if when Microsoft bought Activision, they were like, Activision games won't come to Game Pass.
Right.
Cool. No issue.
Yep.
But now after one of their biggest points was like, this is pro gamer. This is adding value to gamers. You can't do this.
They specifically said
millions of people.
They specifically said that I think it. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments and stuff, but I'm pretty sure they said next year we will start bringing Activision games to Game Pass.
Yep.
You can't then turn around. You can't turn around and go like, no.
Diablo's there.
Diablo's there, yeah. So they've started it already. Like Diablo was like one of their biggest games outside Call of Duty last year, and it's just like that's in Game Pass.
I do think they've created a run for their own back, though. I remember when games weren't when Xbox exclusives weren't in Game Pass day one, and I do agree with you that we probably should be paying more for exclusives to keep the industry going better. But you're not going to catch me boohoo crying over $22 billion Microsoft profits. Sorry.
Yeah.
No. Get on with it. So that's my opinion. Next one comes from Orange Cookie Man. He says, off the schedule. Of the scheduled sorry, I'm all over the place. It's late tonight. Of the scheduled Xbox One first party releases this year, which do you predict will gain the highest Metacritic score? Oof.
So what we
someone
got
give me a
coming?
reminder? I was about to say,
We've got, as far as I know, we've got obviously Hellblade 2, Avowed is this year.
Yep.
Indiana Jones.
Yep.
Yep.
I think that's all we have confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Have
it. Right?
any Xbox have any exclusives come out to this point?
This year, nothing that jumps out of my head. But again, my mind's gone blank, so I don't know. Like you say, it's late. I don't think we've had any exclusives this year. But out of those, I'm gonna go with Hellblade. I think Hellblade's got the potential of being the highest Metacritic score.
Agreed.
Okay, so the list I've got in front of me right now is go on.
Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
That's my answer.
Yeah, that could. Yeah. That's done well historically.
I think Hellblade 2 is gonna be up. I think it's gonna end up getting 9s and 10s. I think could be wrong, but yeah, I do. I really have a deep. Yeah, no, I do. I think it's going to be up there. For me, I'd pick that. That's what I would pick.
So for me, it's very much because the conversation here we're having is like what a gamer is going to prefer, or what a critic's going to prefer, and I think critics are going to lean into Hellblade really well. I think from what I've heard and seen, previews have been pretty damn good. So
to quickly go through the list of what's in front of me from upcoming Xbox exclusives, you've got Hellblade 2, Dungeons of Hinterberg, Stalker 2, Avowed, Ara, Dead Static Drive, Towerborn, 33 Immortals, Replaced.
Well, some of those games aren't
exclusive.
First party.
Yeah, we're talking.
No, I did. Did it say first
this is
party?
First party, yeah.
First party.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
party.
Sorry, I thought it was just exclusives. My apologies. So yeah, Indie, Avowed, Hellblade.
Flight Sim.
I think safe bet is Flight Sim or Hellblade.
Yeah, Hellblade, I'd say. That's where I'd go.
Mm-hmm.
Hellblade. Next question. Trentrus says, what happens if Xbox don't drop COD on Game Pass this year? Would a lot of people start cancelling the Game Pass as a result? Yes. And I would. If I was like the everyday consumer, I'd believe, yeah. You can't, again, whether you want to admit it or not, the lobbying of certain things online and stuff like that does play into why Xbox pushed as hard as they did on buying things. We influence things, that's what customers do, right? Mm-hmm. I do think you can't just use that for your evil manipulative ways. And like we just had the conversation really right about it. They've said that they're bringing games starting next year. You don't then not bring your biggest game.
Yeah.
Simple as that, really. I don't think Xbox shift enough titles for it to worry. I think they shift enough Game Pass subscribers for it to worry. And I think you'll see a lot more people it will bring in a lot more people than I think they're expecting.
I could definitely see COD moving the needle for a lot of people. Like people that are not Game Pass subscribers. It'd be
PC especially.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, I could pay £70 to get this game, or I could just pay my £15 a month and play it.
How many times do we talk about Call of Duty and Fix? We've had this conversation for years at this point. Call of Duty comes out, we play it for a week, and then we stop playing it.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks to pay $70 or $60 it was for a game to play it for a week, realistically a weekend, and then never touch it again. So for a lot of people, that Game Pass subscription to pay for Call of Duty is great.
I think we've talked about it for a while. Like, there's not been anything that's been the Game Pass seller. Call of Duty is the Game Pass seller. Like, that is the thing.
Call of Duty is now the Xbox seller.
Yeah, that's it. But it's like it is the thing that people will specifically pay for Game Pass for one game. Like, before it was the idea of playing hundreds of games for one single price. And it was like, if there was enough games in there for you, then maybe you'd make that purchase. But there is a market out there that will literally buy maybe 1-2 games a year. And if you tell them you can get it as a subscription service and as a bonus, you get a bunch of other games with it. Yeah, that is a Game Pass seller, if ever I've seen one. So yeah, it'd be wild for them not to do that. Would people cancel it if it wasn't in there? I don't agree that it was a definite yes. I think there will definitely be some people that get it for it, and then they find out it's not going to be them, then they'll cancel it. But I think the people that are already in there, I don't think there's going to be enough people in there to turn around and go, "Oh, I can't believe it's not in here. Right, I'm canceling my subscription."
I disagree with you.
I think
that's fine.
So I kind of agree with both of you. I think a loud minority will cancel it, but I think a lot of people who have social media and online presences will be canceling it, which won't have a big effect on Xbox right away, but I do think that would have a trickle down effect, because we're already seeing that. We're seeing like diehard Xbox fans slowly leave the ecosystem already. And I think that would just
looking at you, Tim Dog. I see your Twitter. Jesus Christ, homie. You're having a meltdown once a week. I see you, brother. I see you. We're all feeling it, man. We're all feeling it. This guy bought a PlayStation. He bought a PS5 and a PSVR as well. My guy said, F Xbox, I'm buying it all. I respect it, though. I respect it. Hey, he, emotional guy. I respect it, though. I respect it. I see him. He's changed his logo to a blue heart and everything. Shout out you, Tim Dog. I see you.
I'm going to drop him a DM later and tell him to take a week off.
No, yeah, bro. No, that guy already gets it from every angle. I feel bad for him. But yeah, no, I'd be pissed. I'll say it like that, and I'll leave it there. Dub D23, interesting name. Microsoft have announced 2 upcoming sales ahead of the closure of the Xbox 360 store after the unannounced one this week. This is the last chance to buy some non-backwards compatibility games, which are only available digitally. Physical copies of 360 games have already started to increase in price as a response of the store closure. Could Microsoft have done more to celebrate the closure of the storefront, or are they taking the right approach? No, I'm with you, actually. I think they could have done a lot more. Well, you didn't give your opinion, but I read that as you thought they should have done more. No, I only saw this news article today about it and was like, oh, I didn't realize this was happening. It's weird to not celebrate your most celebrated generation. Like, you see PlayStation still to this day will play around with like the original PlayStation sound or the original controller, or they'll do Astro Bot, which shows their history. And Microsoft are just so bad at it. They're like, we could have easily done a retro Xbox 360 theme, or you know, just stuff to like be like, oh yeah, this is happening, blah blah blah. Like, they just don't do it. I don't know. I guess it's not worth it to them. It's like they've forgotten what we are, gamers, and we like to celebrate things, and we like achievements, and we like fucking ticking boxes, and we support things that we like. It's like they've forgotten all of this.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said I love ticking a good box.
Shut up. I saw the article today, actually, read it, and was like, we didn't talk about it on the pod because I saw the question. But yeah, very shocked to see them. I feel like it's one of those things where they're scared of the backlash, though.
Yeah.
Where like they talk too loudly about this, and it's like, I can't believe you're taking these games off of the 360. You know, it's like, it's just how the world works. You know?
Yeah, for those 200 people still playing on their 360.
There's more than that.
Yeah, 250. Maybe there's 360.
There's 360 people playing on their 360 right now.
That's it. No, I'm sure there's still a lot of people that use their 360, but again, I imagine the majority of them are still playing those games on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Or the series with backwards compatibility and stuff like that. You got to remember, there was a time where all we got was 360 games just filtered through Game Pass. Got Game Pass through Gold for forever.
Gold. Games with Gold was just 360 games.
Just 360 games for a long time.
Week after week, having to come and talk about it.
Yeah,
so
it was
that
hard.
new 360 game that came up 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Games with Gold this week, Crash. Blah 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 blah. It's coming.
At the time, I was like, "What are those games?
Yeah.
What is that?
This isn't Fusion Frenzy."
Oh mate, I do not miss talking about games with Gold. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, talking about the Game Pass editions is always a fun one. This, not so much.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Anything to add, Crash?
No, I think you guys hit the nail on the head.
Sorry, go on, this one.
No, I'm going to say it is sad for like you say, for them not to be celebrating it. It is the heyday of Xbox. Like, how are you not saying a proper goodbye to that? And yeah, it doesn't surprise me that game prices are going up because, you know, people want to own those games. Yeah, collectors.
100%.
Like, I should show you the collection of I'm just gonna pick a random 360. What's this one? Ooh, anyone for a game of Battlefield 3?
No.
No. Okay. Fine.
Love a good Battlefield again, though. Oh my god.
Wouldn't you just?
Bad
That's the
Company
dream.
3, do it, Howards.
That is my dream.
I said a good Battlefield game.
You're the only person that thinks Bad Company is a bad Battlefield game.
I know. I wasn't a Bad Company guy, though. I was a COD guy. Sorry. Great game.
Amazing.
Terrible shooting mechanics,
atrocious.
but great game.
That's never changed.
You think GTA 5 shooting's bad? Jesus, play GTA 4. Fucking hell.
It's not that different.
No, it is. It is. Okay, this guy doesn't know GTA. I'm never going to bother. Last question. Stead says, has Game Pass run its course? So we all know that Xbox has issues delivering enough first-party content. When they do, it's often buggy / not what people expected. The idea they sold us was give us X amount of pounds a month, and that means we have a consistent income to make games. But I'm struggling to think of one first-party game other than Forza 5 or Forza Motorsport I've put many hours into since Halo Infinite, and Motorsport was a buggy mess I've given up on. I think that the increasing length of time it takes to create a game has killed it, and in closing studios, they now have even less capacity to fill in its calendar. Has it? No, I don't think it's run its course, personally. I think Game Pass is in an interesting position, but I don't think so. Chris, I'd love to hear your opinion on this.
I agree. I don't think it's run its course as is. I think that Xbox sort of needs to figure out and convey with customers what measures as success. And I don't think they know that internally necessarily. Because I think if you want people to continue to be like, hey, Game Pass is the best way to support, so we put out more games and more stuff you like, et cetera, that's clearly not true because of her hi-fi rush to a degree, right?
Yeah.
So I think where we are right now, Xbox just needs to sort of come out and be like, hey, Game Pass is a great way for you to support, but you should still buy games, right? Or you should still X, Y, and Z, whatever the conversation is, whatever the conversation is, however they're trying to sell it. I think the problem with the Game Pass is we don't know what measures success. And so in that sense, I think it's run its course as is. Whether they need to take off the AAAs and make it so there's no AAAs on Game Pass or whatever the case is, or they come a year later or whatever. I think they need to reevaluate it and have discourse with the community, because you can't choose to only have conversations with the community when it benefits you for the most part.
Yeah, there needs to be some hard discussions about Game Pass and how it's affected Xbox. Do I think it's run its course? No, I think there's always going to be a market for it. I think the positives that Game Pass does specifically for indie developers who wouldn't generally get eyes on their game, being like, if you get Microsoft behind you to push that like in an idea Xbox, like 30 for the Immortals, if we're honest, how many of us would have looked at that game first if it wasn't part of idea Xbox?
Agreed. None.
The fact that it has been,
I'm sure it would have got.
I'm sure it would have been a great game and it would have had an audience. But the fact that it was put front and center by Xbox as like one of the benchmark indie games that's coming to the platform as part of Game Pass is given that that is now a must play for me after seeing it. And it's things like Game Pass that do that. I think that's where it's going to become more apparent how great Game Pass is. I think the AAA side of it is definitely going to have a relook somewhere, and how they deal with that. We talk about it. We mentioned it before. They built a rod for their own back in their marketing. They said they wanted to have a massive first-party title every quarter, and they've not delivered that. And they've
never delivered.
If it's not something they can do, that's cool. They just have to come out and say it, right?
They're never gonna.
I know they're not.
But this is what I'm saying. They shouldn't have said it in the first place if they weren't convinced that they could do it. And maybe they were at the time, but like evidence in the recently is like they just haven't.
I wouldn't be surprised at a time, because you have to remember when this conversation happened, like games weren't taking as long to develop as they are now, and games have only started taking longer and longer to develop over time. When those conversations started happening, right?
But I think to go off in a little bit of a different direction, right? I think that's why you're seeing a lot of these game studio heads, and I know people are very much fighting against it. And people, that's why the conversation of like AI keeps coming up in conversations. Not, and again, I'm not talking about like let's make an AI game. I'm talking about like tools that are going to help reduce the amount of time it takes to do certain aspects of video game production. And I always find people take the headline too specific with like EA wants to make AI in games. It's like, yeah, but that could be literally like I'm not even talking about writing dialogue either, by the way. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking more about like, oh, I can
coding.
put this in AI and now it can do graphs and it can and you know, like stuff like that is what I'm talking about.
Lip syncing.
Yeah,
lip syncing is something that takes for like CG. We've talked about it with Ubisoft games and a bunch of games where lip syncing looks horrible. You could implement AI to do lip syncing where it's making the task less tedious. You're simplifying that sort of avenue. You're like, you don't have to have people doing a task that's going to take forever and take time away from other stuff, right?
Yeah.
There's stuff that you can utilize AI for that I don't think takes away from the creative process of making a game.
I think we're going to see more of that because of that's why I brought this up, because of how long it takes to make it.
Yeah. I think
so
go on, sorry.
I was gonna say I agree with Fix where a lot of people do take the headline away. They read the AI and they're like, all AI is horrible, and it's like, no, the general utilization of certain people using AI is horrible, but there are good uses for AI.
All AI is horrible. Alexa, play song.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Oops, my Alexa's literally playing music right now.
Alexa, shut up.
Alexa, stop. Shit, it's still going.
I was going to say, for me, it's very much like you said, it's automate the boring shit. Like you said, lip syncing.
I don't know about I don't like the word boring. No,
but you know what I mean. When it comes to, like, if you are making a video game, do you want to be making the cool levels? Do you want to be making the designs and all this stuff, or do you want to be?
No disrespect, but I'm sure there is somebody out there that is lots of people out there that are super passionate about mocap. That is part of lip syncing.
No, you're right. Yeah. You're right. I take it back.
Like boring shit, probably not the best terminology. Of
not boring shit, but you know, the more
making a game. That's like saying audio design's boring shit, right? Like, there's people who are so passionate about like.
No, I know.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And I 100% take it back. But what I'm saying is maybe, how can I better word this then? Maybe the more of the administrative side of development.
I think it's just, I agree. There's just things that can be done quicker. And you know, like you say, tedious tasks and things like that. But I don't think that to bring it back to the question, I don't think Game Pass is even close to running its course when it's got 20+ million subscribers. Ultimately, whether or not they come out and clear up the messaging behind it, I don't think they will. I don't think they can, because they've said too much to then go back on it, which is always going to cause that outrage. I do think there's certain games that have taken longer than they expected, though. I think State of Decay 3 has probably taken longer than they expected. I think Everwild has probably taken longer than they expected. I think Perfect Dark has probably taken longer than they expected. If you look at all the games that have been announced, I think, I think they expected a quicker turnaround time on a lot of these titles, and it's a case of like, no, it just isn't. That isn't how quick it goes anymore when we want quality titles as well. So, yeah. It's we're in an interesting time in the industry, boys. Very interesting. Let's plug and get ourselves out of here. Decent, we'll start with you. We got to plug.
I'm going to plug the YouTube channel because I'm going to have a lot of content on there soon, which you might hear some of it on Extra if you tune into that. But yeah, go check out the YouTube, youtube.com/my Xbox and me. I had to think for a second then.
Crash.
My Xbox and me, look, I've been saying it. I haven't like really shouted this out in a while. Podcast services. Go and leave reviews. The last review we got over here, December 9th, 2023. We're 5 months into the new year, and America can't give us one review. If Fix tells us he has another review, I'm gonna flip out on you
I
guys.
can't check.
Okay.
My phone's dead, so I can't actually check, unfortunately. But yeah, obviously UK all the way. I know we're better than America when it comes to reviewing podcasts. What you gonna do something about it, Chris? You ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing.
I'm gonna quit the podcast. I'm done with the podcast. There's no American review by next week.
I'm not gonna lie, it is wild. Like,
Yeah.
how hard is it to kick your nan down the stairs? And like
Yeah.
grab your
Easy.
iPhone.
She's
And
You
freaking.
know
do the
what? I think we
podcast.
gotta tell people to start kicking other people's names down the stairs.
That's it. Yeah. Go kick somebody
No,
else's nan down the
January.
stairs.
Still
Yeah.
January for us. January 21st. Nothing new for us either.
Yeah. Shout out to Bodness.
Shut up. Yeah. What have I got to plug? Go check out my reaction. I'm back making content on YouTube, youtube.com/mcfixer. We got to talk about that actually, because like what we're gonna do going forward. But yeah, I put up a reaction for the Assassin's Creed Shadows trailer, which we'll be talking about on my Xbox and Me Extra, or MXAM Extra, this week. But yeah, I did that, so go check it out. Obviously, my numbers are terrible right now because I haven't been uploading consistently. So it's like starting from zero again. So if you can go drop a like and watch the video fully, watch time is key. I've been talking to a few of my YouTube friends and they say that's how it goes. So YouTube puts it out there to people and then they see how long people remain on the video before they decide they want to push it out to more people. So yeah.
I got a question. If you have an answer to it. If I watch something at 1.5 speed or 2 times speed or something like that, does it count? It counts as like a full watch? Okay.
I believe so, yeah. It's still the watch time. It doesn't make a difference.
What if I mute it?
I don't know. I think I do mute tab.
Okay. So if I mute the tab, put your video on 2 times speed and loop it, how much would you owe me?
I don't think that works.
Okay.
How much are you willing to pay Despawn specifically for
Yeah, 'cause I
watching it
would
100
do that.
times muted on repeat?
Don't listen, YouTube. I would never do such a thing. Just text me a figure.
Seems like it's against terms of service. But yeah, go support the YouTube channel if you can, MC Fixer. And yeah, lots more content to come soon. All right, well that's it from us. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, we'll love you, leave you, and see you later. Good boys.